Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, Prophecy of the Church of Darkness, April 12, 1820. I had another vision of the Great Tribulation. It seems to me that a concession was demanded from the clergy which could not be granted. I saw many older priests, especially one who wept bitterly. A few younger ones were also weeping. But others, and the lukewarm among them, readily did what was demanded. It was as if people were splitting into two camps. May 13, 1820. I saw also the relationship between the two popes. I saw how baleful, harmful would be the consequences of this false church. I saw it increase in size. Heretics of every kind came into the city of Rome. The local clergy grew lukewarm, and I saw a great darkness. Then the vision seemed to extend on every side. Whole Catholic communities were being oppressed, harassed, confined, and deprived of their freedom. I saw many churches closed down, great miseries everywhere, wars and bloodshed. A wild and ignorant mob took violent action, but it did not last long. Once more I saw that the Church of Peter was undermined by a plan evolved by the secret sect of stonecutters, while storms were damaging it. But I saw also that help was coming when distress had reached its peak. I saw again the Blessed Virgin ascend on the church and spread her mantle over it. July 1820. I saw the Holy Father surrounded by traitors and in great distress about the church. He had visions and apparitions in his hour of greatest need. I saw many good, pious bishops, but they were weak and wavering. Their cowardice often got the upper hand. Then I saw darkness spreading around, and people no longer seeking the true church. August to October 1820. I see more martyrs, not now, but in the future. I saw the secret sect relentlessly undermining the great church. Near them, I saw a horrible beast coming up from the sea. All over the world, good and devout people, especially the clergy, were harassed, oppressed, and put into prison. I had the feeling that they would become martyrs one day. When the church had been for the most part destroyed by the secret sect, and when only the sanctuary and altar were still standing, I saw the wreckers enter the church with the beast. There they met a woman of noble carriage who seemed to be with child because she walked slowly. At this sight, the enemies were terrorized, and the beast could not take another step forward. It projected its neck towards the woman as if to devour her, but the woman turned about and bowed down towards the altar, her head touching the ground. Thereupon, I saw the beast taking to flight towards the sea again, and the enemies were fleeing in the greatest confusion. Then I saw in the great distance a great legion approaching. In the foreground, I saw a man on a white horse. Prisoners were set free and joined them. All enemies were pursued. Then I saw that the church was being promptly rebuilt, and she was more magnificent than ever before. August 10, 1820. I see the Holy Father in great anguish. He lives in a palace other than before. Notice how Pope Benedict XVI no longer lives in the papal residence? And he admits only a limited number of friends near him. I fear that the Holy Father will suffer many more trials before he dies. I see that the false church of darkness is making progress, and I see the dreadful influence it has on the people. The Holy Father and the Church are verily in so great a distress that one must implore God night and day. I have been told to pray much for the Church and the Pope. The people must pray earnestly for the extirpation, rooting out, of the dark church. August 25, 1820. Last night I was taken to Rome, where the Holy Father, immersed in his sorrow, is still hiding to elude dangerous demands made upon him. He is still very weak and exhausted by sorrows, cares, and prayers. He can now trust but few people. That is mainly why he is hiding. But he still has with him an aged priest who has much simplicity and godliness. He is his friend, and because of his simplicity, they did not think it would be worth removing him. But this man receives many graces from God. He sees and notices a great many things which he faithfully reports to the Holy Father. It was required of me to inform him while he was praying of the traitors and evildoers among the high-ranking servants living close to him, so that he might be made aware of it. September 10th, 1820. I saw the church of St. Peter. It had been destroyed but for the sanctuary and the main altar. St. Michael came down into the church, clad in his suit of armor, and he paused, threatening with his sword a number of unworthy pastors who wanted to enter. That part of the church which had been destroyed was promptly fenced in with light timber so that the divine office might be celebrated as it should. Then from all over the world came priests and laymen, and they rebuilt the stone walls, since the wreckers had been unable to move the heavy foundation stones. And then I saw that the church was being promptly rebuilt, and she was more magnificent than ever before. September 12, 1820. I saw a strange church being built against every rule. No angels were supervising the building operations. In that church, nothing came from high above. There was only division and chaos. It is probably a church of human creation, following the latest fashion, as well as the new heterodox Church of Rome, one world church of the false prophet, which seems of the same kind. I saw again the strange big church that was being built there in Rome. There was nothing holy in it. I saw this just as I saw a movement led by ecclesiastics, to which contributed angels, saints, and other Christians. But there, in the strange big church, all the work was being done mechanically, according to set rules and formula. Everything was being done according to human reason. I saw all sorts of people, things, doctrines, and opinions. Things, doctrines, and opinions. There was something proud, presumptuous, and violent about it, and they seemed to be very successful. I did not see a single angel nor a single saint helping in the work. But far away in the background, I saw the seat of a cruel people armed with spears, and I saw a laughing figure which said, "Do build it as solid as you can, we will put it to the ground." Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, Prophecies, 1820 to 1823. September 27, 1820. I saw that many of the instruments in the new church, such as spears and darts, were meant to be used against the living church. Everyone dragged in something different: clubs, rods, pumps, cudgels, puppets, mirrors, trumpets, horns, bellows, all sorts of things. In the cave below the sacristy, some people needed bread, but nothing came of it. It would not rise. The men in the little mantles brought wood to the steps of the pulpit to make a fire. They puffed and blew and labored hard, but the fire would not burn. All they produced was smoke and fumes. Then they broke a hole in the roof and ran up a pipe, but the smoke would not rise, and the whole place became black and suffocating. Some blew the horn so violently that the tears streamed from their eyes. All in this church belonged to the earth, returned to the earth. All was dead, the work of human skill, a church of the latest style, a church of man's invention, like the new heterodox church in Rome. Some blew the horn so violently that the tears streamed from their eyes. All in this church belonged to the earth, returned to the earth. All was dead, the work of human skill, a church of the latest style, a church of man's invention, like the new heterodox church in Rome. September 27, 1820. I saw deplorable things. They were gambling, drinking, and talking in church. They were also courting women. All sorts of abominations were perpetrated there. Priests allowed everything and said Mass with much irreverence. I saw that few of them were still godly, and only a few had sound views on things. I also saw Jews standing under the porch of the church, the Jews who will accept the Antichrist, as written in John 5:43. All these things caused me much distress. October 1st, 1820. The church is in great danger. We must pray so that the Pope may not leave Rome. Countless evils would result if he did. They are now demanding something from him. The Protestant doctrine and that of the schismatic Greeks are to spread everywhere. I now see that in this place, Rome, the Catholic Church is being so cleverly undermined that there hardly remain 100 or so priests who have not been deceived. They all work for destruction, even the clergy. A great devastation is now near at hand. In those days, faith will fall very low, and it will be preserved in some places only. The little black man in Rome, whom I see so often, has many working for him without their clearly knowing for what end. He has his agents in the new black church also. If the Pope leaves Rome, the enemies of the church will get the upper hand. I see the little black man in his own country committing many thefts and falsifying things generally. Religion is there so skillfully undermined and stifled that there are scarcely 100 faithful priests. I cannot say how it is, but I see fog and darkness increasing. All must be rebuilt soon, for everyone, even ecclesiastics, are laboring to destroy, and ruin is at hand. The two enemies of the church who have lost their accomplice are firmly resolved to destroy the pious and learned men that stand in their way. October 4th, 1820. When I saw the Church of St. Peter in ruins and the manner in which so many of the clergy were themselves busy at this work of destruction, none of them wishing to do it openly in front of the others, I was in such distress that I cried out to Jesus with all my might, imploring his mercy. Then I saw before me the heavenly spouse, and he spoke to me for a long time. He said, among other things, that this translation of the church from one place to another meant that she would seem to be in complete decline. But she would rise again. Even if there remained but one Catholic, the church would conquer again, because she does not rest on human counsels and intelligence. It was shown to me that there were almost no Christians left in the old acceptation of the word. October 7th, 1820. As I was going through Rome with St. Francis and another saint, we saw a great palace engulfed in flames from top to bottom. I was very much afraid that the occupants would be burned to death because no one came forward to put out the fire. As we came nearer, however, the fire abated, and we saw the blackened building. We went through a number of magnificent rooms untouched by the fire, and we finally reached the Pope. He was sitting in the dark and slept in a large armchair. He was very ill and weak. He could no longer walk. The ecclesiastics in the inner circle looked insincere and lacking in zeal. I did not like them. I told the Pope of the bishops who are to be appointed soon. I told him also that he must not leave Rome. If he did so, it would be chaos. He thought that the evil was inevitable and that he should leave in order to save many things beside himself. He was very much inclined to leave Rome and was insistently urged to do so. The church is completely isolated and as if completely deserted. It seems that everyone is running away. Everywhere I see great misery, hatred, treason, rancor, confusion, and utter blindness. O city, what is threatening thee? The storm is coming, do be watchful. June 1st, 1821. Among the strangest things that I saw were long processions of bishops. Their thoughts and utterances were made known to me through images issuing from their mouths. Their faults towards religion were shown by external deformities. A few had only a body, with a dark cloud of fog instead of a head. Others had only a head. Their bodies and hearts were like thick vapors. Some were lame, others were paralytics, others were asleep or staggering. I saw what I believed to be nearly all the bishops of the world, but only a small number were perfectly sound. I also saw the Holy Father, God-fearing and prayerful. Nothing left to be desired in his appearance, but he was weakened by old age and by much suffering. His head was lolling from side to side, and it dropped onto his chest as if he was falling asleep. He often fainted and seemed to be dying, but when he was praying, he was often comforted by apparitions from heaven. April 22nd, 1823. I saw that many pastors allowed themselves to be taken up with ideas that were dangerous to the church. They were building a great, strange, and extravagant church. Everyone was to be admitted in it in order to be united and have equal rights, evangelicals, Catholics, sects of every description. Such was to be the new church. But God had other designs. I see that when the second coming of Christ approaches, a bad priest will do much harm to the church. When the time of the reign of Antichrist is near, a false religion will appear which will be opposed to the unity of God and his church. This will cause the greatest schism the world has ever known. The nearer the time of the end, the more the darkness of Satan will spread on earth, and the greater will be the number of the children of corruption. The number of the just will correspondingly diminish. Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich prophecies, October 22nd, 1822. They built a large, singular, extravagant church which was to embrace all creeds with equal rights, evangelicals, Catholics, and all denominations, a true communion of the unholy with one shepherd and one flock. There was to be a pope, a salaried pope, without possessions. All was made ready, many things finished. but in place of an altar, there were only abomination and desolation. Such was the new church to be, and it was for it that he had set fire to the old one, but God designed otherwise. I came to the church of Peter and Paul in Rome and saw a dark world of distress, confusion, and corruption, through which shone countless graces from thousands of saints who reposed there. I saw the fatal consequences of this counterfeit church. I saw it increase. I saw heretics of all kinds flocking to the city. I saw the ever-increasing tepidity of the clergy, the circle of darkness ever widening. Again, I saw in the midst of these disasters the 12 new apostles laboring in different countries, unknown to one another, each receiving streams of living water from on high. They all did the same work. They knew not whence they received their tasks, but as soon as one was finished, another was ready for them. The Jews shall return to Palestine and become Christians toward the end of the world. October 22nd, 1822. Very bad times will come when non-Catholics will lead many people astray. A great confusion will result. I saw the battle also. The enemies were far more numerous, but the small army of the faithful cut down whole rows of enemy soldiers. During the battle, the Blessed Virgin stood on a hill, wearing a suit of armor. It was a terrible war. At the end, only a few fighters for the just cause survived, but the victory was theirs.